This is the story, the fantastically true story, of Herbert A. Philbrick, who for 9 frightening years did lead 3 lives. Average citizen, high-level member of the Communist Party, and counter-spy for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For obvious reasons, the names, dates, and places have been changed, but the story is based on fact. There's got to be an important reason why the communists would work for the election to Congress of a man who's rabidly anti-communist. This week's story concerns the reasons behind the communist plan to elect this candidate. Funny thing about big cities. Most people complain they're too big, that you can lose your identity in them. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you can hide your identity for a while, but then sooner or later the big city closes in on you. Sometimes it only takes one man. Maybe it's a well-meaning friend like Dr. Lee Kettner here. Then it's easy. A few inquiries here and there leads him to the right place and the right identity. Herbert A. Philbrick, advertising manager, Associated Advertising, 4th floor. Well, Dr. Kettner. My golly, it's good to see you.
Herbert, I've been searching for you.
Come on in, sit down.
Thank you.
Well, what brings you down here?
The George Reynolds campaign.
Oh?
Possibly you know that I'm his campaign manager. I've done the best I could, but, well, it just hasn't been good enough. That's why I'm here. We need your help, Herb. With your experience, with you handling his publicity campaign, Reynolds can still win the election.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Sorry about what, Herb?
I can't do it.
But why, Herb?
Well, I'm too busy. Look at that desk.
You can't help at all?
I just haven't got the time.
How many years has it been, Herb? 3, 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Have your political ideas changed that much?
What makes you say that?
There was a time, as I recall, when you would have fought for a chance to work with a man like George Reynolds. His political philosophies today are the same as yours were 3 or 4 years ago.
Listen to me,
Reynolds would make a great congressman, Herb. He's young, he's honest, smart. I believe in him, and I'd hope you would.
I said I can't do it, Doctor.
All right, Herb. In case you change your mind, you know where the Reynolds headquarters are.
I can't change my mind.
I'm sorry I've taken up your time, Herb. Goodbye.
Great. Just great. In case I change my mind. Oh, sure. Just walk up to cell headquarters and say I'm going to work for an anti-communist political candidate. If I could only tell him I have a third activity, counter-spy, reporting on the communists to the FBI. Yes?
Herb, this is Marie Dayton. I want to see you. Come right over. Taxi, mister?
Take me to...
Hey, Herb!
Never mind. Hello, Borden.
Going someplace? No sense throwing your money away on cabs?
Well, thanks, but I hate to take you out of your way.
No, you're not. I'm going the same place.
So Mrs. Dayton gave him orders to bring you in, Philbrick. Why? What have you done? Or more important, what can they think you've done?
chauffeur signal.
Don't ask why she sent for you, Philbrick. A good party member doesn't question the authority of his cell leader.
Well, Comrade Philbrick, would you like to tell me what it was all about?
Sure. If you'll tell me what you mean. What was all about?
You know what. I'm speaking of your conference with the politically minded Dr. Lee Kettner. Well, Comrade?
There's nothing to tell. I didn't invite Dr. Kettner to my office.
Of course not. Old friends don't need invitations, do they?
Well, Kettner and I haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 years.
Must have been nice seeing him again.
Look, it's no secret that Kettner and I were friends years ago. That was before I joined the party.
And now?
Now, nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing, Comrade? No reason for the meeting in your office today?
Meeting? Kettner wasn't in my office more than 5 minutes.
Correction, comrade. It was 7.5 minutes.
All right, 7.5 minutes. If it was 7.5 hours, I can't see why a meeting between me and Kettner is so important.
You don't see why, Comrade. I'll explain. Is that all right with you? The good Dr. Kettner happens to represent everything alien to the communist cause. Do you and the doctor have mutual political interests? Is that the basis of your friendship?
There is no basis for our friendship.
Really?
Kettner's working for the George Reynolds for Congress committee. They need a publicity director. He came to me to ask me to donate my services.
And you turned him down?
After all you've been to each other?
Of course I turned him down. What do you expect me to do?
Frankly, I'd expect you to accept his offer.
Why?
You tell him why, Comrade Borden.
5 years ago, another Kettner protege ran for office and was elected to the state legislature. His assistant campaign manager, Herbert A. Philbrick. 4 years ago, petitions were circulated advocating strong anti-communist legislation. One name present on at least 3 of these petitions, Herbert A. Philbrick.
That's enough. We all committed sins against the masses before we were members of the Communist Party. Every one of us. We were all fools until the party became our teacher, our guide, our life. And I was just as big a fool as any of us. But I absolutely refuse to be persecuted for sins that I committed before I became a communist.
Just a minute, Comrade. You haven't been dismissed. Come back here. I want to see Comrade Herb alone. You're too hasty, Comrade. You jump to conclusions too quickly. It's my privilege to question your loyalty any time I please. It's your duty to give satisfactory answers. Well, it's time to feed my children. Do you know anything about fish, Comrade? Interesting hobby. Especially some of the species. When they get hungry, they eat each other. Come along, we'll talk inside. You've netted yourself a new assignment, Comrade. The invitation of Dr. Kettner to work for George Reynolds. You'll accept it.
Accept it? You expect me to work for an avowed enemy of the proletariat like Reynolds? You expect me to help put a man like that into Congress?
Exactly. Your job is to see that George Reynolds is elected.
But how can that help our cause?
Both political parties in this election can harm us. Both of them want anti-communist investigations. Both of them are in favor of 1,000 things aimed at our destruction.
Sure they are.
There are 2 men in this election. Duncan and Reynolds. We are going to eliminate both of them. First, Mr. Duncan, the incumbent. The people know where he stands. We can't afford to have him in office again.
Yeah, but Reynolds stands for exactly the same things as far as we're concerned.
Ah, but there's a difference. Young Mr. Reynolds is a fresh new case. Untried, untested. You'll be so much easier to smear than Duncan.
Smear? You want to get him elected so you can smear him?
Exactly. We can't dirty up Duncan's record, but Reynolds? Reynolds is still an enigma. Is the picture any clearer now?
Yeah. Step 1, we get Reynolds elected. Step 2, after election, we bury him under a pile of mud. Step 3, the people begin to lose faith in their elected representatives. Don't know who they can trust. Yeah. Nice, wholesome entertainment. If we can get Reynolds elected.
If? No ifs, comrade.